I want you to know one thing at the beginning. I'm not really a cowboy. However, my son-in-law, Matt Jackson, thinks I am. So we're not going to tell him otherwise. Kind of wipe away a couple tears here. Many of you out there have customers. Many of you have clients, and many of you have patients. Well, not to be outdone, I have all three. All right? My customers walk in the morning and they say to me, "Good morning, Mr. Stewart. How are you today? I hope you have a nice day." I don't have too many of those. My clients usually come in and say something like, "I don't know why I'm here. I didn't do anything. I had a good one the other day," okay? I've never heard this one before. Very, very unique. I haven't seen this boy for 3 years. He's a junior. He comes in, he sits down and comes back. I said, "No, I haven't seen you here before." I said, "What is it today?" He said, "Well, Mr. Stewart, after all, it is a 5-day week this week." Now here at Loyola, we don't have too many 5-day weeks. So I said, "Go and sin no more." Now my patients are a different sort. They come in and they usually don't say much until I bring them in the back, and they sit on the 3-legged stool with the single light bulb hanging overhead until the light bulb goes off. All right? And usually, somewhere during the conversation, I talk to them and talk to them about how much their parents, how proud their parents are of them. And we talk about the parents a little bit, and I usually tell them, your first and your best teachers are your parents. And so it was with me when my parents, Tracy and Pop, decided to send me to the Good Sisters of Charity at St. Dominic's School. Now I can prove I was at St. Dominic's because Sister Eleanor's number 2 lead pencil points are tattooed across the back of my head, and I still have gnarled knuckles courtesy of Sister Colette's wooden ruler. Now after a few confrontations with the parish priest, I'll get to that later, a few D's in deportment, here's the kicker. The Sisters of Charity told my parents, and I have this in writing, right, Nance? The Jesuits at Loyola High School will be good for your son. Now, I didn't know what that meant. You can take that one of two ways. Okay, either they were going to straighten me out, I'm 12 years old, or I'm of their ilk. I was going to join them. All right? Now, let me just tell you, it wasn't that I was all that bad. I want to give you one example of my confrontation with the parish priest at St. Dominic's. And this was probably, I was 12 years old, so probably 1954 or so, before I started high school. So one day after serving Mass, I was an altar boy. After serving Mass, I said to the priest, "Let me ask you a question, Father." I said, "Baltimore Catechism says that God made you to know Him, to love Him, and to serve Him in this world, and be happy with Him in the next." How many of you remember that? Okay. So I said to Father Healer, I said, "Father, why can't it say God made you to know Him, to love Him, to serve Him, and be happy with Him in this world, and be happy with Him in the next?" And he goes, No, it doesn't work that way. I said, "It doesn't work that way." He said, no, this is a trial period here on this earth. This is a trial period. And I said, no, I don't buy that, all right? So he wrote a letter to my parents and said that John, good boy, but he has a problem with authority. So at 5'2", 120 pounds, I entered Loyola High School in 1956 in September with my classmates. And I want to say hello and thank you to all my classmates here from 1960. I want to say a special thank you to my good friend Roddy Heil for all your hard work in arranging. Hot Rod Heil, thank you. I want to say a happy birthday to my good friend Jody Satterfield. Jody's 29 today. Happy birthday, Jody. And I want to say thank you to my good friend Joe Enoch from coming off the canvas. Big E, thank you for making the trip up here tonight. Thank you. So at 5'2", 120 pounds or so, I entered Loyola. And there's three things I remember about the Jesuits in 1956. First thing they told us when we came in here, and I had a man named Mr. John J. Martinez, S.J. And Mr. Martinez, S.J., was the first person that greeted me at the door, and I was in homeroom 1G. Okay, now if you count backwards from A to G, you kind of get the impression, I don't know what they did with the entrance exams, but I think all the guys in 1A retired about 15 years ago. So I'm in 1G and I come in and there's Father Martinez, Mr. Martinez, who by the way, ironically, greeted me at the door in 1967 as Father Martinez when I came back to teach mathematics in 1967. So Father John J. Martinez, wherever you are, thank you. Three things the Jesuits had to say to us, and I think my classmates would remember most of these lessons. Number one, we are not going to teach you what to think, but we are going to teach you how to think. All right? Made a lasting impression on all of us as we move through 4 years of Latin and all that, it's good for you, do it, and so forth and so on. Number two, they told us, you are given by God a free will and a conscience. Now the free will part was pretty good to a 14-year-old. The conscience part, guys in 1960, that took a little bit of getting used to, right? And the Jesuits, let me see, the third thing they told us, I think, was to ask questions about everything, question everything, but there was a ... Not now, not until you graduate. Just do it. Just do it, all right? It's good for you. Now, a few special people that I'd like to acknowledge during my high school time. David A. Kennedy, all right? David A. Kennedy was my English teacher. David A. Kennedy was my mentor when I came back here as a teacher. David A. Kennedy was my very good friend. And with all due respect and apologies to Rudyard Kipling, I'd like to say, you're a better man than I am, David A. Kennedy. I was from Gunga Din, for those of you who remember, Gunga Din. There's another man who was very important in my life in high school. I was Coach Tracy Mayer, football coach here at the time. And I'd like to thank him for giving me the opportunity to earn a position on the football team. All right? Coach Tracy Mayer lives up in Boston. Thank you. There were also two other men instrumental in my development later. These two men not only taught me how to play the game of lacrosse, but more importantly, they taught me how to respect the game of lacrosse. And he taught all of us who were students here then, guys over there, you can vouch for that. Coach Ed Miller, class of 1947, and Coach George Corrigan, class of 1948. Coach Miller's here tonight. Thank you, Coach. Speaking of coaches, what are coaches for? Coaches are here to help you perfect your game. Well, for the past 45 years, I have a coach that's been trying to help me perfect my game. Where are you, Nance? There she is. All right. She hasn't cut me yet. She's still here. My wife, Nancy. And you know, I'm still lacking in certain things. According to Nancy, I'm fashion challenged. And I also have a problem with authority. So, I'm going to start working on those two things. I really do owe a debt of gratitude to the men, the Jesuit presidents who were here, who both supported me and had confidence in me during my time here. Father Charlie Costello, Father Leo Murray, Father Jim Salmon, Father Jerry McAndrews, Father Jack Dennis, Father Tom Pesci, thank you for your support over these many years. I also have a great deal of thanks to every single Loyola Don who is here. Thanks for the memories, Don. It's okay, I really mean that. Thanks for the memories. I have many, and I've been privileged to work here over 40 so years, 47, with great colleagues and friends. And I'd like to say thank you to them for the past 47 years. Many of them I've spent my adult life with. Bill Carew, John Wiedenkamp, Joe Groom, Jerry Savage, Father Lloyd George, Donner Bancek, Tim Pierce, Mike Yampieri. I might even go over to my notes. Donner Bancek, did I say? Okay. And one very, very special lady who's been with me, Loyola's own mom, Miss Sheila Broom. Thank yous to Anthony Day. Thank you, Mr. Day. Thanks for all the kind words. And who is that guy? Amy Rollman, thank you. Todd Langenberg, thank you. Roddy Howe, class of 1960. Mr. Joe Sullivan, thank you. Brian Plunkett, Tom Mooney, and the class of 76. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Mrs. Brown and your cowgirls, thank you. Where's Maru and crew? Thank you for the decoration tonight. Thank you. Okay, let me look here real quick.
You sneeze in them?
I left out Dick Prody. Thank you, Dick Prody. Dick Brody was with me for many, many years. Okay. I got one more story for you, and then I'll hit the trail. About 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, my first grandchild, Annabelle, whom you've met, was born. And like any proud grandfather and grandmother, Nancy and I tried to see Annabelle as much as we possibly could. All right? And I was very fortunate because the summer after she was born, I had some time in the morning to go visit her. And I said to Allison, do you mind if I come over in the morning and take Annabelle for a walk? She was about 6 months old. And Allison, she said, yeah, but it'll cost you. I said, okay, grande skim, extra hot chai, $3.29 at the time at Starbucks, it's worth it, okay? So I would go over in the mornings and I would take Annabelle Jackson for a walk, and we'd walk around. She, of course, obviously, couldn't talk, but I'd carry her, sometimes in a stroller. Every once in a while, I would take her and put her in a swing out back. And we'd swing, and obviously, she can't talk, and I'd tell her stories or sing songs. And, just have a good time with her for an hour, hour and a half, and bring her back to be changed, and here you go. All right? So, as years went along, I kept doing it. I did it with Annabelle and then Finley. And now it's the same thing with Livy and Mac. And when she was old enough to talk, I'd say to her, Annabelle, what do you want to talk about today? What do you want to talk about? What do you want me to sing today? And she said, and she's the one that started calling me Cowboy. Now, that's a long story though. She said, Cowboy, let's talk about the Wizard of Oz. Let's talk about the Wizard of Oz. So I would go through the Wizard of Oz, and I would be Miss Gulch, riding on the light. And then I would make believe I was the tornado and whirlwind. I would be the scarecrow, And then every once in a while, we would sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So we're out there playing, and then it was the same with Finley. When she came along, she was born, we'd go out there, we'd start singing and talking. And I told you I was in 1G, right? Suddenly, it hits me. I said, I'm telling her my story. I'm telling her the story of every Loyola Don, and I'm telling her the story of Jesuit education. How so, might you ask? Okay, here's how it goes. Here's how it goes. You got a teenager. You got a young person, 12, 13 years old. And that person is comfortable, cozy, at home, right? Let's call her Dorothy Gale, or let's call her Don Diego. Let's call him Don Diego. All right? So we got Don Diego, and all of a sudden, Don Diego is whisked up in a whirlwind and deposited in Munchkin Land. Well, we could call Munchkin Land Loyola High School. All right? And who greets Don Diego? Well, the mayor, or it could very well be the headmaster at Loyola Blakefield. And what's going to happen is that the young person is going to encounter the good, Linda, okay, the good teachers, the mean teachers, Alphaba, right? And the flying monkeys, the knucklehead classmates around them. So here we go. And the mayor of Munchkinland says, Don Diego, what would you like now that you're here in Munchkinland or Loyola High School? And the Don says, I'd like to go home because there is no place like home. No place like home. So the principal, the headmaster says, okay, Don Diego, if you get on the blue and gold brick road and follow the blue and gold brick road, you're going to meet the whiz at the end of it. And the wizard will tell you how to get home. So the Don takes the little doggy, right? Annabelle, what's the name of the dog? Tostito? Toto. So the Don takes Toto and starts on the blue and gold brick road. you know, we're off to see the wizard and follow the yellow brick road and the blue and gold brick road. And who do they come upon? They come upon the Scarecrow. And the Scarecrow says, I'd like to go with you to visit the Wiz. Why? Because I would like to get a brain. Intellectually competent, right? Intellectually competent. Jesuit. They go a little bit further. They keep on walking. And who do they come to? They come to the Tin Man. And what's the Tin Man say? I'd like to go with you also, because I would like to have a heart, religious and loving. So they take the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and they keep on walking. And who do they come upon next? They come upon the Cowardly Lion. And the Cowardly Lion says, well, take me along. What do you want? I would like the courage to be myself and to be open to growth within myself. All right? And they keep on going, and I know I'm going to have some wise Don out here in the audience say, hey, Mr. Stewart, what about the diversity piece? Anybody out there? Hey, what's more diverse than a teenager and a dog walking down a road with a Scarecrow, a Tin Man, and a Cowardly Lion, right? So, they keep on walking, and soon it's the first Sunday in June, and they get to the Emerald City, which we can call the green grass of the hollow. And what they do is they get to the hollow, and who's waiting for them? The wizard, Mr. Anthony Day. He's waiting there for them. And Mr. Day is there at the end, and the Don goes up to Mr. Day. Mr. Day hands him a folder. And Mr. Day says, congratulations, Don, well done. And the Don, he says, click your heels together 3 times, Don, and you can go home. You may go home. And the Don looks at the wizard. Firm handshake, eye contact. And he says, I am home. Thank you.